Today is an important public policy session. I should wait, let me back up. I'm the Vice President of Advocacy on the Salem Chamber Board of Directors, just to introduce myself. With that, we do have we had all the candidates that are running for Salem-Keizer with us today. And this is important. Education is important because the education of our children determines the future workforce and future leaders. And on a personal level, a lot of our members are small business owners. So they're also parents and grandparents of the kids in the schools, in our schools. And so this is going to be, I think, a very informative session, and thankful for all the candidates for being here today. And then I want to just kick it off by saying that as particularly with the school board candidates here, that education opens doors, opens possibilities, and can change the world. So again, I'm looking forward to hearing from we are all looking forward to hearing from all the candidates. With that, I'll turn it over to Tom.
Great. Thank you, Vice President Felice. We are going to go through a self-introduction period that will go something like this. I'll call on you and you'll let the group know your name and the business that you represent. Candidates for Salem-Keizer School Board, we will come back to you and Wendy will formally introduce you prior to our question and answer session. So I'm going to start with Public Policy Co-Chair Jeff Miller.
Good morning, everyone. Jeff Miller, Coldwell Banker Commercial.
Cindy with Salem Hospital.
Good morning, everyone. Cindy Lanasar, Community Relations Liaison with Salem Health.
Treva.
Treva Gams with Gambaretti's Italian Restaurant in Salem and Oregon, or Albany. It's Oregon, and it's early.
Great to have you here, Treva. Chris Seeley.
Sorry.
Oh, Chris got muted. Chris is with the Salem Chamber and works in partnership with the Salem-Keizer School District. Board member Kathy Goss. You're on mute, Kathy. Kathy Goss serves as one of our school board directors and past president of the Salem Chamber. John Miller, past president Miller.
Good morning. I'm John Miller. I'm with the Courthouse Club Fitness.
Ian Levin.
Morning, everyone. Ian Levin, principal broker of Nathan Levin Company, Commercial Industrial Real Estate, and CCIM.
Mr. Ted Ferry.
Ted Ferry, State Farm agent here in Salem.
Great to have you here, Ted. Rich Duncan.
Good morning, Rich Duncan Construction.
President Kathy Gordon.
Kathy Gordon, Aldrich CPAs and Advisors and Chamber President.
Alan Pollock.
Morning, everyone. Alan Pollock with Chariots.
Let's see, we got Barrick.
Morning, guys. Barrick Blake with Wizard Manufacturing Company.
Great to have you, Barrick. David Qualls.
Good morning, everybody. David Qualls with Par Lumber.
Morning, Wendy. Wendy Childs.
Good morning, everybody. Wendy Childs with Earth Moon Acupuncture and Massage.
Board member Brandon Blair.
Morning, everyone. Brandon Blair, Summit Wealth Management.
Kathy Moore.
Good morning, everyone. Kathy Moore, Salem Chamber and the Inspire Foundation.
Zachary Zalicki.
Zachary Zalicki, Salem Chamber of Commerce Membership Manager. Thanks for being here, you guys.
Superintendent Christy Perry.
Good morning, everyone. Christy Perry, Superintendent, Salem-Keizer School District.
Kyle Browse.
Good morning, Kyle Browse with Salem Insurance.
Steve Horning.
Good morning, Steve Horning with Willamette Community Bank and Mayor of Turner.
Sorry about the background. Just reminding people, if you could, keep your Zoom broadcast on mute. That will help with any background noise. Commissioner Lyle Mordhorst.
Good morning, everyone. Lyle Mordhorst, Polk County Commissioner.
Michael Dwayne Brown.
Happy April Fools, Michael with Legal Shield.
Public Policy Co-Chair Jonathan Castro Monroy.
Hey, Jonathan Castro, Castro Monroy Group.
Katie Kostick with her beautiful +1.
Sorry about that. I'm Katie Kostick with AC and Company Architecture.
Great to have you, Katie. Chris Stewart.
Chris Stewart, Windermere Real Estate. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Public Policy Co-Chair and past President TJ Sullivan.
Morning, TJ Sullivan, Huggins Insurance.
Denise Bowles.
Good morning, Denise Bowles, Salem Health. I'm going to give a shout out to Commissioner Cameron. Happy birthday if you're on the line.
Oh, you're stealing my thunder, Denise. Okay, very appropriate that you're the one to do it. Lauren Baumgartner. Lauren, are you there? Okay, not picking up any audio there. Barb, past President Barb Hackresh.
Good morning, everybody. Barb Hackresh with Summit Wealth Management.
Great to have you here, Barb. Naomi Tillery.
Good morning, Naomi Tillery, Membership Engagement Specialist at the Chamber.
Representative Raquel Moore Green.
Good morning, Raquel Moore Green, State Representative, House District 19. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thank you for your service, Representative. Colin Willis.
Good morning. This is Colin Willis, Marion County Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hopefully I did not miss anyone. I noticed a couple of put comments in the chat, possibly that their audio is not working. With that,
Tom, I'll jump in and say
there. We got a couple other. Past President Pine.
Richard Pine, O'Neill Pine Company, and remembering back in 1995, this was Mike McLaren's first day on the chamber board, on the chamber staff.
Wow, thanks. That's awesome, Richard. Thank you for noting that.
And board member Paul DeCopolis.
Good morning, Paul DeCopolis from Garrett Hugh and Robertson.
Thanks for being here, Paul. Wendy, I've done the best scanning. I think I have most everybody in now.
Great, great. With that, we'll go ahead and welcome all 11 candidates. I'm going to ask each candidate a question. I'm going to ask for the candidates, I'm going to ask you to provide introductory statement on your campaign, and you'll have 2 minutes. So I'm not going to do it in any specific order, but I will start with the zones just to kind of make sure that I catch everybody. So with that, the first question, this is your 2-minute introduction to us to talk about your campaign. And with that, I will start with candidate Osvaldo Avila.
Hi, good morning. My name is Osvaldo Avila, and I'm one of 6 proud children of Mexican immigrant farm workers. I was raised in Independence, Oregon, and I've made Salem my community with my wife, my son, and our daughter, where I'll be running for the director for Salem-Keizer School Board for Zone 1. I have the honor of a career in public service, helping students from working class families like mine to get a chance to pursue an education. I know what it's like to help set up our children for college and career opportunities because I've dedicated my life to it. I've engaged with students, families, community organizations, and business partners to increase educational opportunities from career technical education to college and university program studies. I thrive on building networks and collaborative partnerships from educational institutions, communities, and business leaders and legislative partners to improve educational outcomes. I'm running for the position because I'm uniquely positioned to advocate for all families regardless of the backgrounds. With my personal and professional experiences, I successfully managed college, university, and state budgets. I'm currently administrating a $695,000 grant from the state provided by the Lumina Foundation to increase graduation outcomes for our post-secondary landscape. I am meeting all of my outcomes with great success. My efforts have earned me an extension where I'll be building upon my skills and assets to improve our Office of Workforce Investments with the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. Thank you for having me. Appreciate your attention.
Gracias, Salvador. We will go next with Richard Riggs, Zone 1 candidate.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Chamber, for hosting this event. And it's so good to see so many faces that I recognize from my many years of service here in Salem and work around the community. I am Richard Riggs. I am a candidate for Zone 1. I am the only candidate in this race that actually has governance experience. Served 5 years on Chemeketa's board. I was elected in 2007 and re-elected in 2011. That was a nonpartisan position. I also have a long history of service, not just as a volunteer in our community, but I was 20 years in the Navy and worked my way up from the enlisted ranks up to being a commissioned officer. When I retired from the Navy, I went to law school at Willamette, and I've been active in our community ever since as a Rotarian. I work in, when I was an attorney, I worked for the Military Assistance Panel for the Oregon State Bar Association, providing pro bono legal services to our veterans here in town. I've also worked in the Marion County Teen Court. I was a clerk in the Marion County Court, a civil mediator. I am currently the regional director for OSU Extension, and in that role, we provide services. Thank you, Tom. We provide services around the entire region around family community health, 4-H, making sure that our folks have access to food nutrition. We work in food banks. We work in our schools. It's service is important to me, and I look at what is going on in the board right now and the politics that are involved. And I'm not the special interest politics guy. I'm not taking money from the left or the right. I'm very much a grassroots campaign, working in the middle, trying to represent all voices, and that's what I will bring to the board. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on. Is Carrie Zoner, did she get on the call? I know she was struggling to get in. Tom?
Carrie, we're not able to hear you, Carrie.
Maybe turn up the volume.
Carrie, we're
no mute. I don't know.
We may just try to work that out and give you a little time to.
I don't know why it wouldn't. It doesn't show.
We hear you now.
We hear you now.
Hear me now?
Yes.
I apologize. I don't know. I didn't have a mute sign, so I couldn't figure out. I'm pressing all the buttons. I apologize for that. I'll give you my 1 minute. My name's Carrie Zoner. I was born and raised in Salem and Keizer. Grew up going to school in the Keizer area, Cummings, all the way through to McNary. I have been 20 plus years as a coach in the district. I also served as a restricted substitute teacher. I stepped up when we didn't have enough substitute teachers in the district. I have a bachelor's degree from Oregon State University. So I stepped up and became a substitute teacher in the district. I have 2 boys currently in the district, Drew and Kate, 16, 14. I have a high schooler and middle schooler. And I have decided that it's time for mom's voice to step up and make a difference. I have 3 things that I think are most important. We have safety issues in our schools. SROs are extremely important. The voices of our kids need to be heard. 2, full-time school. School needs to be back full-time. We have kids who are depressed. We have kids who are ready to learn, and 45th in the country is not good enough. Three, all of our kids, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of background, deserve to have a voice. So for me, it's about passion, it's about a heart for kids. I've served this community in a number of ways, and I also have legislative experience as a chief of staff for a state representative. So I do have legislative experience, a little experience in Salem. And I'm excited. I'm sorry I'm a little nervous, but I was running around trying to push the buttons. But I want to say thank you so much, and I look forward to having more conversations.
Thank you, Carrie. With that, we'll move on to Ross Schwartzendruber, and I apologize that I probably got that wrong, Ross, so you please correct me.
No, you did it perfectly. It's just how it's written, so you did a great job. Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Ross Schwartzendruber, and I am a sheep farmer out in Spring Valley, outside of Salem, Oregon. I'm born and raised in the area. I've lived in the Salem area for 50 years. We just moved across the hill from Bethel in the late 80s. My wife married in 1992, and we have 3 children. My wife teaches in Salem-Keizer, and all 3 of my children go to South Salem High School right now. I'm very active in the community, and I've been a small business owner for 20 years, Black Sheep Advertising, and a member of the Chamber. I'd like to thank the Chamber for providing this forum for us. I'm really interested in getting elected to the school board for 3 reasons. I'd really like to preserve public education as a foundation of our democracy. When we have all of our kids together, learning together, we have a better chance to form a working government. I'd also like to restore the public trust in the school board and improve communications. And I'd like to enhance the experience of our students with a fuller experience at the schools. I'm very active in the Oregon Public Education Network. It's a group of parents and retired teachers that have been actively educating legislators about K through 12 issues. And we have many legislative measures that are going through right now this week, in fact, and are really on top of what is going on in my community. And that's the reason that I'm really interested in being the school board candidate for Zone 1.
Thank you. Well, that will move to Zone 3 candidates, and we'll start with Ashley Carson Cottingham, please.
Good morning. My name is Ashley Carson Cottingham. I'm running for Salem-Keizer School Board Zone 3. I live in Salem with my husband, and I'm a proud mom of 2 little boys, ages 5 and 7. We've lived here for about 7 years now and are very involved in the community. I currently sit on the Budget Committee for Chariots, as well as the Salem Housing Advisory Committee. I'm a 5th-generation Oregonian and a product of Oregon Public Schools. I grew up in Central Oregon, where my grandfather was a public high school ag and conservation teacher. He also brought the FFA program to Bend High in the 1950s. I know that I wouldn't be the person that I am today if it wasn't for some of my public school teachers. They helped me when I was being bullied in the 3rd grade, kept on trying to help me when I couldn't get the hang of calculus in high school. I want to fight to make sure our schools can give every kid the individual focus they need and improve our graduation rates overall. All my life, I've focused on making people's lives better. From standing up for abused and neglected kids in court as an appointed special advocate to taking hotline calls in the middle of the night from domestic violence victims in law school. Later, I worked in Washington, D.C. as a nonprofit leader and in the U.S. Senate to improve policies around food insecurity, elder abuse, retirement security. I truly believe that public service makes a difference. For the past 7 years, I've worked in the state in various executive leadership roles, managing multi-billion dollar budgets and advocating for people in nursing homes and other long-term care facilities, who, as we know, have been hit the hardest by COVID-19. I think it's so critical we get our kids back into the classrooms full-time, but safely. And I'm running for school board because I think we need strong leadership. We need a board that listens to parents and students and takes action to have the highest quality education possible. I'll work tirelessly to improve our schools for my children and yours. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here this morning with all of you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Linda Farrington, candidate for Zone 3. Linda, are you with us?
Linda, you're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hello. Thank you very much for having us today. I have raised 6 kids in this community who have all attended Salem-Keizer Public Schools, and now I have 2 granddaughters in this district. I also had a daughter who was a school counselor at Bush and then at Highland Elementary, and then was a behavior specialist at McKay High School. My husband and I are also small business owners, so I get some of the struggles you may have been through this last year. I care about this community because it's been my home for 30 years. I grew up in a multicultural world overseas. I was born in Thailand, coming to the States at age 12. I settled in Salem in 1985 after getting a bachelor's degree from Oregon Health Sciences University, and worked as an RN primarily in the recovery room and the emergency room. Then I spent some time at SAFE working as a nurse consultant in the work comp field. My background also includes experience on the Marion County Citizens Review Board that reviews cases in foster care, and as an advocate for the Marion County Victims Assistance. I have been part of the school budget committee and on the school bond committee. And I was privileged to lead our community in coming together to build bathrooms and a new concession stand at South High after they said it couldn't be done. All of my life experiences were ways of helping families in the nitty-gritty of life, giving me a big picture perspective of understanding many sides. I am running to give every child an opportunity for a high-quality education, for success and safety in the classroom, and for transparency and data-driven decisions. We need leadership that includes balance and common sense and takes into account all of these situations. Am I done?
You have about 10 seconds, Linda.
Okay. We need leadership that includes balance and common sense and takes into account all of these situations to do what is best for every student. I look forward to representing all families, as I believe we all have a common interest in ensuring the success and safety of our students. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you today. I ask for your support and endorsement so we can make a difference together. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. We'll move on to Zone 5 candidates, and we'll start with Karina Guzman.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karina Guzman Ortiz, pronouns she, her, hers, and I'm the proud graduate of Salem-Keizer Schools. I graduated from an alternative high school here in town. I'm also the proud mother of 2 students in the district and daughter of dedicated and resilient Mexican immigrants. This past year, as a working parent, I have faced the same challenges that so many other parents in our districts have with their schools buildings closed. As a substitute teacher, former substitute teacher in our district, I saw our classrooms across the district. And as a former student myself, and now as a mom, I know what it's like to want our schools to be the best that they can be. And unfortunately, right now, due to the pandemic and all of just the chaos that has been going on, our schools really just need extra support and they're in crisis. I'm running because it's imperative that we center the education and livelihood of our children, our youth, and their families. I have dedicated my career to working with children. I earned a master's of social work and have been a parent educator, supporting and guiding parents to be present and have the tools and resources to have their students succeed. I have worked in medical settings, providing behavioral support to pregnant and parenting women with substance dependencies. I've also sat for countless hours listening to parents share their greatest hopes and dreams for their families and children when I served as a family advocate, parent educator with our local Head Start. And most recently, I ran a youth program, so I know what students need and what they want, and more so what they dream. I now work with our early learning division at the Oregon Department of Education, ensuring that we listen to community and partner voices to work in collaboration. For too long, our students' and families' needs and requests have been ignored, and we've lacked courageous representation on our board. I want to get our kids back into the classroom once it's safe, and then bring my experience as an educator to helping our children and teachers get what they need to give every student the special focus that they deserve. For too long, decisions for our students have been made by people that don't have children in the district, and I strongly believe it's our time to shine. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Jesse Leopold-Pione.
It's Pione.
Pione, okay, Pione.
Hi, I'm Jesse Leopold-Pione III. I ran for the Salem-Keizer School Board in 2017 to fight for our most vulnerable kids. And I'm running in 2021 to serve my second and final term for the same reason. I know what it's like to be in foster care, homeless, and to wake up every day with no hope for your future. I know what it's like to be Native American, to have families torn apart, and to always be told that you're not Native enough simply because you don't carry your tomahawk with you everywhere you go. I know what it's like to have family within the district, as I have a little sister sitting upstairs right now who goes to North High School. I know what it's like to overcome these things and become successful. And I've made a promise to myself when I was a teenager, while sleeping in a freezing elevator, that I would try my best to become successful and then come back and save every kid who's fallen through the cracks of our systems and been left behind. I intend to make good on that promise. In the last 4 years, I've grown exponentially. I have passed policies that put kids first and been very successful in moving the ball forward for kids. I understand the political world a lot better now. And years ago, I stripped myself of political party and past biases. That way I can truly focus on improving our education system in a nonpartisan way. I'm extending this commitment by being the only candidate in my race, not accepting any endorsements from bipartisan interest groups, which includes any nonpartisan interest group that acts in a partisan way, which is most of them. If reelected, I will be the most experienced board member besides Marty. I understand our systems, have built the relationships, and have a proven record that I'm able to work across the aisle and have proven success at writing and passing policy that truly helps kids. I will use my experience and leadership to ensure our board actually creates board goals like we promised a year ago, so that way we can hold our superintendent and our board accountable to them. I will work hard to change our systems to fit the needs of kids, not change kids to fit the system. I will work hard to ensure that we can get kids back to school safely and keep the partisanship out of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Well, with that, we'll move to candidate Michael Slagle.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests. I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. My name is Mike Slagle. I'm running in School Zone 5. My family has came over the Oregon Trail 160 years ago, 8 generations of Oregonians, 4 generations in the Salem-Keizer School District. Most of them graduated from North Salem High. I have a grandchild that will be going to West Salem eventually, and one on the way. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, where I went to tech school to be a jet engine mechanic, and which led to me to my current employer, where I'm at today working at West Pro Lab. It's a small business, a wonderful company where we do aerospace inspection. I'm a coach. I've been a coach for over 20 years in this Salem-Keizer School District. I also officiate football and basketball. So I've been to every school in our district, and I've gotten to know many, many people through my ventures of officiating and coaching. I have so many different families that I know, and I've seen kids from when they were very little to be successful adults when later in life, and I'm really proud of that. I was on the Little League board for several years, where I was on the district boards as a safety officer. We created a district-wide plan, and we won a national award for it. At one point, I was a volunteer of the year in 2003. I started coaching at North Salem when my daughter got there as a volunteer. Joined the Booster Club. They asked me to join the Booster Club. I said, sure. It was an awesome opportunity to to make an impact for North Salem High. I eventually became president, and we got together one year with the community, the group members, called all the alumni from the 50s and 60s, got them all together. One of my proudest accomplishments is getting the field turf put in North Salem. I'm really proud of that. And I feel that my background working with kids all these years, I understand kids. I have a passion for kids. I've seen them light up when they get confidence. So I want in our school system to be able to transfer that to our kids in our school system, to have the right curriculum for them to become fruitive, industrious adults when they get out of high school and contribute to the community and be independent. Thank you for having your time.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 7 candidates, and we will start with Maria Cecilia Enonos Presi.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Maria Hinojos Presi. I'm running for Salem-Keizer School Board in Zone 7. I am the proud daughter of Mexican immigrants, one of which was a teacher, and she showed me just how important it is to be able to have that one-on-one time with students. I watched children absolutely flourish under her care because she developed a safe space for both them and their families to ask questions and voice their concerns while they navigated raising children in a completely foreign world. I also experienced what it's like being a bilingual, bicultural child in this society. I am very proud to say that in my dad's construction company, I helped support submitting bids and filing taxes by the age of 15. I've also dedicated most of my adult life to supporting our families in crisis. Currently as the operations director at PECUN, Oregon's Farm Worker Union, where I've managed a couple $100,000 budget that we created to be able to support our immigrant farm workers during COVID that were left out of our stimulus packages from our government. I've also been able to serve our community as a domestic violence advocate, and I've seen families at the worst times of their lives. I want to be able to create that representation and that safe space for our families to advocate for their children and support them through the most traumatic moments of their lives and ensure that we have the right supports for them in our schools as well. Thank you so much for your time. And again, happy to meet everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. And our next candidate is Liam Collins, Zone 7 candidate.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to apologize. My video is acting weird for some reason, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But I was born in Ohio. I moved to Oregon my junior year of high school, which obviously is a difficult transition when you go from one high school to another. When I graduated from high school, I went to Willamette University. So I've been in Salem ever since basically starting college, which is almost 30 years. I eventually went to work for Enterprise Holdings, Enterprise Alamo National, basically, as a management trainee, and worked my way up within the company to my current position of vehicle acquisition manager. So in that role, I do a lot of data analysis, but I also have a team of over 200 people that work directly or indirectly for me that handle the logistics of getting cars where they need to go. So I'm used to working with a large and diverse group of people, everything from career track to people who are just taking the odd job to earn extra money. I saw a need, or my wife and I saw a need a couple years ago for fostering of teen youth. And so we became foster parents. We have since fostered 4 teens, 3 of which have been in the Salem-Keizer School District. And it became obvious over the course of that time that students who need extra support are not always getting the support and help they need from the school. And that is a large part of why I decided to run for the school board itself. These kids need to be told that they can succeed because they have a lot of potential and they hadn't been getting that message before. And that needs to come from the school board. That needs to come from everybody within the school. That needs to come from the community, business community, families, friends, everything like that. And that's why I'm running for the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move into the 1 minute segment of questions. So you'll have 1 minute to provide an answer to the question that I'm going to pose to you. But the first question is, and I'm just going to share it with all of you, and then I'll start calling candidates here, is what would be your top 2 policy priorities if you were elected to the Salem-Keizer School Board? And we will actually start with Zone 3 and Ashley Carson Cottingham, please.
Great, thanks for the question. I think, oh, can you hear me? It's something popped up that says unmute myself. Okay, you can hear me, good. As a working parent, I know from experience throughout the last 13 months now, how hard it is to have your little kids at home and work full time. And so my first priority is to work to get schools fully reopened as fast as we possibly can, safely and responsibly. And then, my second priority is that we improve our graduation rates overall. And we look into the root causes that are creating lower graduation rates for some parts of the community and for different kids. And so, just like I've been in many leadership positions throughout my career, I will use those skills to peel back the layers and figure out some positive solutions to improve graduation rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Farrington. You have 1 minute.
Linda, you will need to take yourself off mute again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Opportunity happens in schools, and that's my first policy priority. We must open schools to a full 5 days of in-person instruction. We have known since last summer how to open schools safely. And now with all the teachers vaccinated, there is no reason why schools cannot be open for a full 5 days of instruction and to get back to basics. The school district's response to COVID has worsened the socioeconomic and educational disparities in our neediest communities. Equity means we need to get our eyes back on our lost kids. Schools provide all of the wraparound services for families. We know that child abuse and domestic violence and suicide ideation is high. So we have to, and I can't imagine the stress on those families, excuse me. Second, our schools need to be successful. For our schools to be successful, we have to have data-driven decisions, like the SRO contract that will take the politics and emotions out and bring real solutions in. We should be collecting data that is useful, and it should be transparent and easy to find. I am determined to look for the root problem as well, so we can fix issues, not just talk about them. I believe in getting everyone to the table, especially parents.
Thank you, Linda. With that, mixing it up here, I'm going to go to Zone 7 candidates, and we will start with Maria with the question of what are your top 2 policy priorities?
Yeah, thank you. I think I echo a lot of the candidate statements about ensuring that we're opening our schools safely and intentionally. So I'm just gonna briefly set that one aside and talk about also, I wanna make sure that we are creating spaces that are safe for all of our children. I know that once my daughter is old enough to go to school, I want to make sure that I'm sending her to a district where I don't have to worry about if she's being bullied, if she's at risk for any of the terrible things that our students are facing currently. And I want to make sure that I use our community to lead all of our policy decisions and make sure that we're working collaboratively. And then the next one would definitely be Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. My apologies. And then just really briefly, the next one would be about ensuring that we have more mental health support for our students in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Liam Collins.
Right. Well, I'm also going to say that one of my key issues is getting kids back to school 5 days a week. Having said that, I've also seen a kid thrive in the environment that's an online environment. And that has shown me that we actually need to make sure that we have enough options for kids that allow each individual one of them to succeed. Because while most kids need to be in that in-person environment 5 days a week, there are kids who will learn better online or in small groups, and we need a school system that can accommodate that sort of choice so that we can make sure that every kid succeeds. The second big thing is safety in our school is a big issue. SROs are important. When I was in school, there were no SROs. I wouldn't have said that we needed SROs at the time, but I saw a SRO drive 20 miles out of his way when a kid was in crisis and basically stay with her for a couple of hours when she really needed that. And that sort of person is the type of SRO that we need, and the kids deserve that type of support. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 5 candidates. And if we could start with Karina Guzman Ortiz.
Thank you for the question. So two of my priorities will be definitely, thinking as a parent and someone who's been working at home and navigating the last year with my children by my side and supporting as that co-teacher in some ways, communicating with educator and just knowing how difficult it's been. I know that it's really important that we get our students back into the classroom. I also know that teachers and families are concerned about the health of their families and the community. And so we need to take all of those things into consideration and really follow just the health experts' guidance as we do so. The other important thing for me is improving our graduation rates. We know that our students are graduating in disproportionate numbers depending on so many factors. And in order to do that, it's important that we support our educators so that they can show up and be supportive of our students, but that we also acknowledge and look into the issues impacting our students. And that includes mental and behavioral health, because all of those issues just impact how our students are able to show up into the classroom. And we need to see them as whole human beings and whole complex systems that include our family system. So those will be my two priorities going in when selected.
Thank you. Jesse Leopold-Pion.
Hey, yeah, I just want to say that, I like hearing all of your guys' voices and what you guys wanted to do. I think it's really cool. But two big things for me. I think that, I could go into detail about each one, but the two top ones I think would be that are pretty pertinent. One is governance, which means having a high functioning board. That's something that in the past year we have not had. And part of that would include make sure we have a board orientation, because we're going to have at a minimum 3 new board members, as well as board goals, things to make sure the board has one vision instead of 7 different visions, things like that. The other one is systems. I'm very focused on systems and making sure that we have systems that fit the needs of our kids. So evaluating things that aren't working, for example, our school discipline, disciplinary policies that we're going over right now. That's a big one. And then other ones building on things that are working. For example, expanding things like CTE, that's proven to raise graduation rates, increasing dual language, which is something I've been long advocating for, which has proven success in increasing graduation rates. And so focusing on the systems, because if we change the systems and make them work well, then the outcomes will change as well.
Thank you. Candidate Michael Slagle.
Thank you for the question. I echo the rest of the candidates. I believe children should be back in school full time. No problem. The teachers are ready, I believe, and the students are definitely ready. Every kid that I've been working with lately, coaching, has expressed that they want to be back in school. They hate distance learning. So with that said, I strongly support school resource officers. They are good role models, and they build positive relationship with students and families. They are trained to recognize child abuse, neglect, gang activity, sexual abuse, and they might be the first ones to intervene with the child before they get into trouble. So I'm a strong advocate to bring SROs back into the schools, and I think they're a very important part of the school atmosphere. Also, I want to get back to the basics of teaching our children. I want to take politics out. I'm not political. I know my opponents use politics before before an election. I don't want to do that. I want to get back to the basis of the CTEC program. I went through it in McNary when I went there. I went through their SHOT program, and it helped me in my life where I'm at right now. It's a STEM program, health, athletics, all the arts, all the extracurricular activities. I'm a strong advocate for that. I think it's very important for kids to have an outlet. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 1 candidates, and we will start with Osvaldo Avila.
Yes, hi, thank you. Again, same sentiment, reopening our schools safely, but I'm going to move on to the other two priorities. So our data shows graduation gaps exist among our traditionally marginalized students. So two of my top priorities would be to support student success through comprehensive, diverse approaches that will engage students, parents, community, legislators, business partners, and stakeholders that will lead to closing the graduation disparities among our racial and ethnic students in our districts, while simultaneously increasing success for all students. The second will be to enhance curriculums through strategic investments that are culturally relevant and physically responsible, with increased wraparound services for the support and success for all students. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Richard Riggs, candidate Richard Riggs.
Thank you, Wendy. It's interesting to hear all the candidates talk about getting kids back to school. That is important, but the long-term picture is how we're going to deal with the pandemic for the next 3 to 5 years and the fallout from that. And that's what I'll bring, is the long-term strategic thinking to the board. Other issues, Jesse hit right on governance. Governance is a huge issue for the board right now, and I bring experienced governance to the board and will help provide good governance. The final issue of my top issues would be graduation rates in our schools. We have a 79% graduation rate overall, but 6 of our 8 high schools are 88% or higher. There are 2 schools, and I'm not going to name them, I'm not going to call them out right now, that have significantly lower. One is only 14% graduation rate. So we need to address those graduation rates in those schools and look at why those students, maybe it's expectations of teachers and administrators, and realign and provide culturally competent instruction for those students, where necessary to help close that achievement gap. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we will move to candidate Carrie Zoner.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. My number one priority is to get schools open full-time, just like everyone else. I have a heart for kids. I've been around these kids for 20 plus years as a coach and as a substitute teacher, and I've seen what opening schools and relationships do. My second priority is SROs in schools. As a law enforcement wife of a law enforcement officer for the last 20 years, I see the mentorship and the availability of SROs to be a huge priority going forward. We had a student task force that came together to recommend the SROs. Unfortunately, they weren't listened to. So we need to look at the reasons as to why those recommendations of our students were not heard. That was a diverse group of kids who weren't listened to. And unfortunately, we need to figure out why that disparity happened. I would like to bring pride back to schools. Kids need to be happy. They need to be at school and engaged. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll move with candidate Ross Schwartzendruber. Gonna have to practice that one, Ross.
Yes, Ross Schwartzendruber again. And my priorities, number one, would be to maintain and to protect and maintain the mental and physical health of all students and staff, making sure that we get back to school safely, and that when we get back to school, we're going back to establish relationships rather than just to take tests for assessments. If that's the only reason we're going back to school, we need to be discussing that. Also, The second thing I'm really interested in is restoring the public's trust in the school board institution. We've really had a breakdown of communication and vision. And a lot of it seems to be oriented toward special interests involved in our race. When I ran in Zone 1, 2017, it's a $70,000 race just in Zone 1. Now, you got to kind of ask yourself, why do these people want in our school board? Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to the next question. Again, 1 minute answers, please. Just really need to get as much information out to our candidates. So if you could keep to the 1 minute, that would be greatly appreciated. The next question is, what do you see the role of the business community in regard to our public school system? And with that, I will start with Karina Guzman Ortiz in Zone 5.
You know, our businesses support our community, our economy in town, and it's just really important that we continue to have that, you know, that we continue to have our business partnership, supporting our CTE programs, for example, and just continuing that work. Also thinking about, you know, how do we, thinking about our bond dollars that are still available, and, you know, just really thinking about how do we connect students to job training opportunities. Having worked with youth for the last couple of years, it's some of them want to go to college, others want to go right into a job, some want technical careers, and so just how do we provide that opportunity, and how do we work together with our business partners? And you know, I just want, thank you. I'll leave it at that. Just like seeing little flags is always entertaining.
Thank you. Thanks. With that, candidate Zone 5, Jesse Leopold-Pion, please.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I just first want to say thank you for Karina for her insight as well. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think when you say, what do you see the role of the business community? I would say partners. The reason is just because one, in the past, Salem-Keizer is well known for our success in private-public partnerships, especially in regards to education, teaching and developing CTE and CTEC programs to provide real-world experience for students. And it's proven to increase our graduation rates by tenfold. I mean, our CTEC students graduate at over 90%. Mentorships and internships for students, if that's a possibility in the future, I think that's something we could get better at, especially students who come from lower socioeconomic classes. I think that would be a great thing that isn't really happening in today's culture. But for example, I even mentor a couple kids within our district because I think mentorship is really important, because it teaches kids, you know, the kind of the rules to the game. And I think that's a really important thing to have. And then also providing resources for most vulnerable populations. So like fundraisers, or if kids need things, like we have our music lessons project, which funds music lessons for kids who can't afford them. And so things like that are really important.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to candidate Michael Slagle, please.
Thank you for the question, and thank you business owners that are here today. I appreciate you guys. I work for a small business. I think small businesses are very important to our community in the United States. 60% of Americans work for small businesses. So they're really the backbone of our country, and I think we need to support them in any way by educating our kids to get through school so they can go into the workforce and help these companies be successful. They contribute to sports, athletic programs, music programs. They help with CTE programs. I really appreciate all the dedication they've given to schools. Very important that we keep them in our school community. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will move to Zone 7 candidates, and Maria Cecilia Inuz Presley, if we could start with you, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I definitely think that a partnership with our local business communities is absolutely vital. I mean, as the daughter of also a small business owner, I know the amazing power you folks have in rallying our communities to support the things that we care about. And I just really applaud the Chamber for helping us create such a nationally renowned CTE program. I know that whenever I was in high school, it was the local businesses that gave me one of my first jobs, and really gave me the confidence to know that I was entering the workforce as a capable I mean, at the time, student, but knowing that I had the skills to enter the workforce as a very capable adult, and it's only been able to get me to these positions because of those programs. Thank you.
Yeah. Liam Collins, please.
I definitely see the role as a partnership role. One of the things that I believe students need to see more of is exactly what career options they really have. School tends to talk a lot about college as the track, and that is the track for a lot of kids, but that isn't the track for every kid that's out there. And it's important that kids get to see different opportunities that they would have. It's also important for businesses to help with the interview process. And by that, I mean training on interview. One of the things Enterprise has done over the years is help out kids who need help learning how to interview with things that they need to know. Things as simple as how to communicate, how to answer questions, how to present themselves in the most positive light, and what they need to do on the background end. And I think business can definitely help in that way.
Thank you. With that, we move to Zone 3 candidates, and we'll start with Linda Farrington. Linda.
Linda, you will need to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the businesses for all that they do to help schools, because I know you have been involved and it means a lot. We are all connected whether we like it or not. And the more that the business community can engage with the schools in mentoring, helping with CTE, supporting special projects, just like we've talked about, the more likely our public schools will produce quality, engaged, and community-oriented individuals. This is where we should be able to incorporate successful persons of color who can be role models to the many student nationalities represented in our public schools. Schools are developing and shaping the future generation, and it behooves all of us to help. It takes a community to raise a school. Our future depends on it because we have to live in that future. So we should do whatever we can to try to encourage partnership and engagement.
Thank you, Linda. With that, we'll move to Zone 1 candidates, and we will start with Ross.
Great. I really appreciate that question because in my mind, public education wouldn't exist without small businesses. If you look back in history in Oregon alone, it's when the small businesses and the farmers got together to say, hey, man, we need some public education for our kids. And they made a school. And that's where we are 150 years later. It's the bedrock of what public education is all about. When I was the president of the Straub Music Boosters, we raised $75,000 over the past 5 years. And that was all from small businesses and parents and people who want to help kids get more access. And also small businesses are helping center the equity. So they're filling the gaps that the public education is not doing. When I helped found the Music Lessons Project, which gives personalized lessons to Title I school students. That was the effort to center that equity, to give them an opportunity that we didn't have or they didn't have and we did in Straub. So those are the two things. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to return to Zone 3 and ask candidate Ashley Carson Cottingham for her response.
Thank you, Wendy. So I think that the business community has a significant role to play. Our students are the future business owners, the future or current employees, and we really want our economy to thrive with a well-trained workforce. I also want to thank you, the Chamber, for the support of the nationally recognized CTE programs. These couldn't exist without the partnership of the folks in the Chamber. And from firsthand experience, I've worked very closely with businesses across Oregon that provide long-term care to residents. And I know how critical it is for those businesses to be able to hire a well-trained workforce, in particular caregivers, supporting our most vulnerable people. And so just like I have that experience of working as a school board director, I would want to engage business leaders on all of our key decisions and really build relationships with each and every one of you. Thanks. See, my time's up.
Thank you. With that, we'll move back to Zone 1 and we will start with Carrie Zoner.
Thank you. As we look at our small businesses, I am a small business owner as a realtor. I have been a member of the chamber in the past. I would like to look at why the chamber and our small businesses hold the amount of money on their shoulders to help fund our schools. I think that's unfair. But I also think that we have to have a partnership with our small businesses. The diversity that we see in our small businesses should be reflected in our schools. There is a partnership opportunity. Maybe we work with our small businesses to partner with our schools to help with landscaping, to help with plumbing, to help with the infrastructure of our schools, for fixing up our properties, for bringing back the pride in our schools by partnering with our small businesses. I think that there's a larger partnership there that we can take advantage of. Because our small businesses are always open and ready to help. That's the heart of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to candidate Richard Riggs.
Thank you, Wendy. So I actually have a record of governance on partnering with business. When I was on the Chemeketa board, we listened to our business community. We passed a $92 million bond levy back in 2008, which helped develop career technical education there. In response to requests from the business community. That is the same type of leadership that I would bring to the board. Businesses should be in partnership and the schools should be to what businesses need. That happened with CTEC. The graduation rates for students that are in CTEC are 97%. Those type of partnerships really benefit students, help them succeed. And it also, gives students skills that are important for small businesses around the area so that they can enter the workforce ready to actually work. Or if they want to go on to college, they can go on to college too. But it really is being in partnership, and small businesses also support music, athletics, and other programs within the school. And I know my kids benefited tremendously from support in West Salem High School, through music and athletics. So thank you.
Thank you. And now to candidate from Zone 1, Osvaldo Avila.
And thank you to all the business owners, small business owners that are here. I really appreciate your support and listening. I support my wife's small business and supported my dad's business, and half my undergraduate degree is business before I switched over to making an education career. The role of the business community, it should be a partnership, is a partnership to support and invest in our public school district by advocating for the success of our students, through the bonds, through measures to continue building upon. Again, I'm going to reiterate what our other candidates are saying and talk about the nationally recognized career technical education program. It's a national model. So the relationship between business and the public school system must remain strong with common interests and support. Our students must graduate ready to pursue post-secondary options and prepared with the skills to enter the workforce and to contribute to our local economies in an active and engaged civic manner. So I appreciate all the work that you do in supporting our schools.
Great, thank you. With that, we're going to move into the audience question and answer period in this session. And I'm scrolling through the questions right now. And I'm going to start with who are the key endorsements you've received and been supported by financially, specifically looking for the organizations that have given you support. I think that's a transparency question. And I will start with Liam Collins in Zone 7.
Well, I've received the endorsements of Daniel Bethel, Sandra Chantigiri, and Marion County First at this point. I'm new. Literally, I had only registered on the last day to run. I'm not a politician. So I will take an endorsement from anybody who's willing to give it, or money from anybody who's willing to give it. And I think that's the way all candidates should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria Cecilia Pressy.
Yeah, one of the organizations that I'm most proud of to receive an endorsement from is Mother PAC. I've received endorsements from a lot of unions, like our Heat and Insulators Union, our Smart Union. I've also received the endorsement of Bekun, Stand for Children. There's a few that I'll just leave it at that. I've lost track.
Thank you. Now I'll move over to Zone 3 candidates and start with Ashley Carson Cottingham.
Thank you. So I've been endorsed by Stand for Children. It's a group of parents, that works to advocate. The Salem-Keizer Education Association, Community for Salem-Keizer Schools, the Working Families Party of Oregon, Marion Poquiam Hill Central Labor Chapter, which includes, union electricians, and as Maria mentioned, the heat, frost insulators, allied workers. Most of my donations have come from individuals. We're doing, calls out to the community. And so, a lot of smaller individual donations from people that support the campaign. Also have received some larger donations from some of the folks that have endorsed me, the organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Linda Farrington, candidate for Zone 3.
Hello, I am being helped with Marion and Polk County PAC, and I've been endorsed by Jose Gonzalez, who is a city councilor, and Daniel Bethel, who is a commissioner, and Commissioner Kevin Cameron, retired Chief Jerry Moore, Representative Raquel Moore Green, otherwise mostly just neighbors and friends in the community.
Thank you. And now we can move on to candidates from Zone 1, and we'll start with Osvaldo Avila, please.
Yeah, I've been endorsed by Stand for Children, Bekun Farm Worker Union, others, Apano, Progressive Salem, Marion Poquiam, Hill Central Labor Chapter, other unions, of course, as well. I've been endorsed by the Deputy Director of our Oregon Department of Education, Carmen Urbina, the Salem-Keizer Education Association, teachers, unions, individual teachers. I've been receiving a lot of my support through individual family and friends, donations through them, small business owners as well. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Richard Riggs, Zone 1 candidate, please.
Thank you. Yeah, what I find interesting is that people are not saying if they're endorsed by Planned Parenthood or Right to Life, and many of the candidates in the Zoom today have been endorsed by them, and they're not claiming that. I have not been endorsed by any union, special interest group or anything. It's primarily friends and family. I have been endorsed by county commissioners that I've worked with in the past, and Schuster from Benton County, San Brentano here from Marion County, which I think most everybody knows. People I worked with at Chemeketa, teachers, former school administrators, friends. The one I'm most proud of is my former high school former high school principal. When I grew up, I was not really a good student when it came to disciplinary matters, but I was pretty academically good, but she saw in her heart what I was trying to accomplish and gave me her endorsement.
Thank you. We move to candidate Carrie Zoner, Zone 1.
Hi, thank you. So I will go ahead and keep my list brief. Kathy Goss, who is retiring out of this seat. Marion Polk first. Former Chief Jim Ferreris. He has retired. Dick Withnell. We all know Dick Withnell and what he provides to our small business community. Marion Polk First PAC, Lyle Mordhorst Commissioner, and Danielle Bethel. just to name a few. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. With that, Ross, candidate for Zone 1.
Yes, as of yet, I've received no endorsements. I accept no corporate contributions. And I'm only taking money from individuals because I think that these special interests are going to want payback after their candidates get in. And we've seen what that does to our school board decorum. When we continue to escalate between special interest groups money, then there's a breakdown of communication and our children are not served. And I'm asking the Salem community to evolve beyond the special interests grip on our community. And that's why I am refusing corporate money and also only taking individual contributions.
Thank you. With that, we will move to Zone 5 candidates. Michael Slagle, we'll start with you.
Sure, thank you. I've been endorsed by Commissioner Bethel and Colm, Satya Chandagiri, and Representative Bill Post, and a couple educators. Maybe some of you guys might know Mark Gilman. He's a longtime teacher at North Salem, and his father was a longtime advocate for sports and children in our community. He's also the announcer for local sports on CCTV. Also another teacher out in West Salem, Ty Nicholson. And right now I'm working with my friends of Mike Slagle to get donations to my campaign. And that's where we're at right now. I started late, like Liam did, so we're working on that right now. I'm also endorsed by Marion Polk First PAC. Thank you.
Thanks. Next candidate, Jesse.
Hey guys, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm really trying to keep things, I'm being a lot more selective about who I allow to endorse me, simply because I'm focused on a mission of kids first. And if your vision and mission isn't kids first, then I don't want your endorsement. And that's something I'm trying really hard to do. I think that the special interests and these nonpartisan interest groups are very harmful to our community. I think they divide us, and you see the repercussions of that on our current board. So, I mean, so far I'm trying to focus more on people than on organizations. And so far I have Jose Gonzalez, city councilor, Greg Pearson, a local businessman in town, and good guy, been super involved in the community, and Dick Withnell. That's all I got so far.
Thank you. Apologize for my dog having an opinion about that, I guess. I don't know. And our next candidate is Karina Guzman Ortiz.
Yes, thank you. I have several endorsements, several from organizations, C4s, and then also just most of my contributions have been from local voters, friends, and family. Some of the donations, to call them out, some you will find on my website and some are not there yet, but those do include, our teachers union, our classified and support staffs union, Mother PAC, Stand for Children is also supporting several trade unions, and really, really proud of those. I am also endorsed by Planned Parenthood and NARAL, and by our Farm Workers Labor Union, which is PECUN, by my Senator Patterson, and by APANA, which is ASIN Pacific and American Network of Oregon. And all of these endorsements, have shown up to support. And I think what's important to remember is that I am here as a mother, as a former student of our district, and someone who's worked with so many families and children. And my vision will always be to center our students, our families, children, and community.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, Tom, I'm going to ask for a little guidance here. It's 8:15. Do we have time for one more or one more question?
Yeah, I would defer to you. We do want to have each candidate have 1 minute closing, which would take us essentially about 12 minutes with transitions. So you would really need to do 30-second questions. That's your intent.
So, yeah, I think we're going to have to transition to closing because we have a very been very disciplined about ending at 8:30 for our membership, and I want to stick to that. I don't want to be the one to break it. With that, we'll transition to your closing statement. And you will have 1 minute or 1 minute, 1 minute for your closing statement. With that, I will start with in zone 7, Liam Collins.
All right, well, thank you very much. I just want to mention one more thing. We do need to have more civility on the board. I think that data and transparency are a big part of that. We all, if everybody who gets on the board in the end needs to step back and look at data and say, this is what our kids need. And these are the things that we need to focus on for success, whether that's look at where the dropouts are coming from, where the people who are not graduating are coming from, and put resources or new plans in place to prevent those kids from falling through the cracks. This shouldn't be a political position at all. It's supposed to be nonpartisan. It shouldn't matter who we're endorsed by or who we're not endorsed by. I think everyone here is interested in the kids, but that needs to be the focus. The kids are the focus, not our future political career. I don't have a future political career. If anything, I might run for a school board a second time, but I work and that is what I do. I look for opportunities to improve in my work environment, and that's what I want for everybody else. And I ask for your vote for that reason. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. And now zone 7, Maria Cecilia Hinoros Presi.
Hinojos.
Hinojos. Ay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I just want to thank everyone for their time. Super grateful to spend this time with you folks. I think this would be a great moment to start building a relationship with each other, especially if I were to be elected to the board, to make sure that we're keeping that line of communication open. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be running for school board. Honestly, I think I kind of echo some of my opponent's comments in that I was suggested by community to run for this. I put my family, my community, and our children first, and that's always what should matter. And I'm very proud to be running alongside 3 other candidates that state the same thing. And I'm so happy to be in their presence and really excited to be able to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to zone 5 candidates, and we'll start with Karina Guzman, please.
Thank you. I just want to kind of reiterate that as a student, someone who's been in our classrooms and just the mother of 2 kids, I have seen our schools and our district from every angle. I graduated from an alternative high school here in Salem, where some students are wrongly stereotyped as lost causes. And so thanks to the dedicated teachers in our district, I graduated and have now dedicated my career to serving families with young children. And I'll bring my classroom experience working with children and families and my passion as a mother to fight for great schools and improve our graduation rates. And so I just want to continue to, that we always think about what is it that our schools need, what is it that our children need, and that's always our guiding light, because that's why I'm running at the end of the day. And so I really appreciate your time and your energy. Please check out the website. Please give me a call, send me an email. I'm happy to chat.
Thank you. Our next candidate, Jesse Leopold Pion.
Yes, you got it. Thank you. Yeah, my message is pretty simple. Kids first. I'm focused on changing our systems to fit the needs of kids, not changing kids to fit the system. Each kid's unique, and when we try to shove a unique shape into a square hole every single time, you get a lot of what Oregon has in general of kids falling through the cracks. That's why I originally ran, was to help and represent and support a lot of the kids who have fallen through the cracks. And that's, and this time, I come back even stronger because I have the experience, I have a proven track record of supporting kids and working across the aisle to get things done for kids. And I've really grown, and I bring a nonpartisan approach, not supported by special interest groups. And I'm just focused on how can we help kids. And I hope that whoever we have elected this go around, we all have that vision.
Thank you. Our next candidate, Michael Slagle.
Yeah, so I request your vote today because I want to take the politics out of the school board. I wanted to get back to basics, to teaching our kids the things they need to succeed, not ideologies. I want the kids to have a solid foundation and find a way to get the kids to encourage them to stay in school. I think it's so important that we reach out to our families, to our community, that the ones that especially that are struggling, and to find out why and get them involved in school. Have equity, everybody's involved. I live in a more, my area, my zone, there's a lot of impoverished areas. I want to reach out to those people and I want them to feel like they belong in our school, that they have a sense of belonging, and that then when they go there, they feel good. They don't feel scared. They feel safe. They're wanted there, and they get the proper learning that they need. And I just want to get back to basics, and I want to keep people off the streets. As you know, everybody sees all the homeless downtown and all around. I don't want that to happen to our kids. I want them to not, I want to break that chain. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 3, and we'll start with Ashley Carson Cottingham, please.
Thank you. Again, I'm running for school board because I'm a mom. I care so deeply about the quality and the safety of our schools. I think we need strong and experienced leadership on the school board. I have a lot of experience leading large publicly funded budgets with integrity and transparency. I'm the daughter and sister of small business owners, and I've worked really closely with businesses, large and small, all across Oregon. We need a board that listens to parents and students and takes action to have the highest quality education possible for our kids here. And again, I will work tirelessly to improve our schools for my children and yours. I would greatly appreciate your support, your endorsement, and your vote this May. Thanks for having this forum. It's been really valuable.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 3 candidate Linda Farrington.
Thank you very much. I am very concerned about kids and the direction that our schools are taking right now. Public schools determine the ideas and values of our future, and I think it's important to have a part of that. I'm not a complainer. I'd rather make a difference, and I really want to find solutions and not just talk about what we need to do. We've had lots of, I think, feedback. I think we know that we need to engage families, but it's hard for teachers when they have to do so much. They don't have the resources or the time. We're mainstreaming all of our students. That doesn't help. The teacher needs to be able to teach, and so that we can have high quality education. I also think that the way that we're responding to this COVID is not helping, that it's having an ongoing, devastating, and socioeconomic impact on everyone. Achievement scores have been dropping, and we're way behind. Many families are fed up and are leaving public education. So we need to do something to increase the value of our educational system. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Zone 1 and candidates, and we'll start with Osvaldo Avila.
Yes, thank you very much again for hosting us today. As a father of 2 children in our district, I'll prioritize to support our wonderful teachers so they can invest in each student individually, so every student has a chance to succeed and graduate with the tools, the resources, and the encouragement to pursue a career, a skill trade, or college education. I'm the most qualified candidate to represent the community, our district, and our board. With a master's in educational leadership and policy, I'm business-minded, relationship builder, with the ability to represent all voices while uplifting our traditionally marginalized students. I'll offer transparency, I'll be approachable, and I'm centered with the success of all of our students. I'm asking you to vote for me to serve as your new Salem-Keizer School Board member representing Zone 1. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Next candidate, Richard Riggs, please.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Chamber. I appreciate your time this morning. I also want to acknowledge all the other candidates that are in this race. Even if you're my opponent, I have a tremendous amount of respect for your willingness to step up and run for this office. I know how hard it is, having run for office myself, been elected to the Schwartzendruber board. What I want to do is put, pardon me, I want to put kids first. It's time for good governance on the board. And it's time that we stop focusing on the special interest politics that are, centered on the left and the right. I want to listen to the voices of the community. We have long-term effects of the pandemic we're going to need to deal with. We have to improve high school graduation rates and close our achievement gaps in our schools. I want to make sure our students are ready to enter a workforce or go on to college. And I want to continue to support strong programs like our career technical education, STEM, music, athletics, and arts programs in our schools. And as your board member, I promise good governance and I will be a good steward of your resources. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to candidate Carrie Zoner, Zone 1 candidate again.
As your candidate in Zone 1, I have a heart for kids. I've been in this district as a student myself and a coach and a substitute teacher. I'm a law enforcement wife and a small business owner. So I look for partnership. I want our families to be heard. I want our kids to be heard, and I want our businesses to be heard. Public schools have provided diversity forever. That is what makes public schools a wonderful place for our families and for our kids. Every voice needs to be heard. We need to rise with pride. Our kids have lost pride. Our families have lost pride. We're exhausted. We're tired, and we've been through a long year. So it's time. It's time to rise with pride. It's time to step up for our kids, our families. We need all the voices heard. So I'm excited. I wasn't planning on running. I was asked to step up, and I'm stepping up to make a difference and to help our kids become all they can. So I ask for your vote today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we'll end this part of the session with Ross Schwartzendruber with his 1 minute closing comment.
Okay, yes. I'd like to thank the Chamber for having this forum and also kind of discuss what I've been doing since the last school board run. And all those issues that I ran on in the school board in 2017 are now legislative items. And also not just legislative items, but they're administratively deciding to follow the suggestions that I was running on in 2017. So we've waived the SBAC, the annual assessment. We need to be worried about the interim assessments that they're going to replace them with. What I've seen I see that the product that we're living right now is the result of outcome-based education for 30 years. And it's only going to get worse. The political violence in the streets in Salem is unacceptable. And that is going into every agency. And I want your vote to continue this change positively. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that, we've ended the session. We just want to say mil gracias, many thanks to all the candidates. We appreciate your time and your passion for stepping forward to serve our children. I also want to allow Tom, if there's any other announcements we should make.
Thank you, Wendy. First of all, to all the candidates, thank you so much on behalf of our board of directors and our entire organization for appearing in front of us. To have all 11 candidates join is terrific for this community. This session has been recorded and will be available in the coming days. We do some very minor editing of the front and back end. None of your commentary will be abridged whatsoever and will be played in full for those who would like to see this later. Candidates, I would ask for you to be watching your email box today, as you'll be requested to fill out a candidate's questionnaire, and we will get that out to our membership. That's a service we do for our members who are not able to view this in full, or those who prefer to see your candidate profiles and issues over print media. With that, Wendy, the only other announcement I have was to encourage guests to sign up for a forum luncheon, which occurs on Monday. Of course, I'm going to cheat and look at my calendar. Pardon me, Monday the 12th. We have State Police Superintendent Terry Davies as our keynote speaker. and that is sponsored by our friends at Express Employment Professionals. So Wendy, the floor is yours.
All right, well, with that, it is 8:30. Again, many thanks to the candidates and for the members that joined us today. And I just want to wish you a great, beautiful Oregon Day. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful.